Welcome to the Piltdown Superman podcast. This is Cowboy Bob with podcast number 6. Last time we did an introduction to logical fallacies, and we're emphasizing the informal logical fallacies. They're the most common that we come up with in discussions and debates, especially about creation science, evolution, atheism, and Christianity. Today's is the most common one as far as I'm concerned. It is the ad hominem. In fact, it's so popular it still has its Latin name. So many of the other fallacies are not referred to by their Latin names. Ad hominem, or to the man, is basically an attempt to distract people from the discussion and any points that might be raised by going after the integrity, intelligence, or a moral flaw, real or imagined, on the part of the opponent. People have tried to attack my integrity, intelligence, and character and so on, but I've kind of head them off. Yes, I admit, I have done rotten things. I've done stupid things. I don't understand everything. So what? That does not negate any points that I am making. I must emphasize again that one problem with dealing with these informal logical fallacies is that they blur, blend, and overlap. But I think the most important thing to remember is that an attack on the person is an effort to distract from the point that they are trying to make. Now, I have something where somebody was complaining that
it's a pity I can't comment on Bob's Facebook page. Bob needs to learn some astronomy rather than simply repeating stuff from the ICR.
Well, that's a pretty subtle ad hominem, and he's also attacking the Institute for Creation Research, indicating that they don't know anything about astronomy, and he's also saying that I don't know anything about astronomy. This statement also implies that I don't read anything other than material from ICR. I had posted a link to an article on Twitter regarding atheist groups taking away Christmas from children, essentially. Somebody decided to do the usual thing, change the subject and attack. He said to me,
a pagan festival and giving gifts is pagan, not Christian. But then don't expect uneducated Americans to know that.
And again, there is more than one problem with this, but we'll just stick to the ad hominem. It was an attack on me and had nothing to do with the subject matter of the article. Somebody posted a comment on Facebook on the Question Evolution Project's page, referring to somebody named Benjamin.
Just because you don't have the mental faculties to understand something doesn't mean it's wrong. Besides, a creationist is the last person who should be telling anyone they're just believing what they're told without question. Cover up, dude, your hypocrisy is showing.
Again, we have more than one logical fallacy, but he was just blatantly attacking Benjamin. The ones that I have brought up here are rather easy, and name-calling, basic insults, those are the most obvious forms of ad hominem fallacies. And I mentioned previously that some people dispute whether or not a basic insult is considered an ad hominem, but I believe it is because the point remains that they are trying to discredit their opposition, even though it is not in a structured debate format or something similar. One of the best articles that I have read about ad hominem fallacies is at answersingenesis.org by Dr. Jason Lisle. He points out that there are two kinds of ad hominems. One is pretty much what I gave you, the abusive ad hominem fallacy. And that's when you have just the name calling and the heated arguments, and it just resorts to childish tantrums. There's another kind called the circumstantial ad hominem. Dr. Lisle says The circumstantial ad hominem fallacy is when a critic simply dismisses a person's argument based on the arguer's circumstances. For instance, saying that somebody might be in favor of an increase in a gasoline tax because they have a vested interest. Now here's another example of how these logical fallacies trade off in categories, because this kind of circumstantial ad hominem is also an appeal to motive fallacy. You're making this claim because of your personal interest. But even so, it keeps coming back to that fact that these fallacies are used to avoid the point that is being made and go after the character of the person. I have many examples of logical fallacies, but I'm not going to bore you with them. And besides, I think you're getting the point. I have intelligent readers and listeners. And like all logical fallacies, I believe we all do them. And I'm going to keep on insisting that Christians and creationists keep a guard on ourselves and try to minimize the damage that we do, because we have to be better than the opposition.